What's going on, everybody? Joe Daniels from Swing This Kettlebell and Strength. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about lightening the load. And no, that doesn't mean going to the bathroom. That means weight training. So, it seems that everywhere we look, people are lifting heavier and heavier and heavier. Those are the videos, those are the motivational things that you see online, things like that. What I don't see much is people showing work on basically better technique, just all sorts of stuff. So what I like to do on almost every exercise that I do, focus on taking a day or even a week. This could be a light deload week or something like that, and especially for power exercises. We don't pay attention to this as much. So when I see people that start lifting kettlebells, of course they're wanting to lift heavier or Olympic lifting. Everything's to the next level. What it does though, if you don't give yourself a chance to focus on every other aspect other than just the weight, I find that you're going to get much more chances of being injured, and you're possibly going to train yourself to start doing things in a way that you're compensating with, which could obviously get into more injuries. So take a day where you take your favorite exercise. I'm actually going to do kettlebell jerk. It's not my favorite exercise. I'd much rather do long cycle or snatch, and focus on slowing it down. The reason why, so many, but basically I can focus on my breathing. Now, here's the thing is, we have to get a lot more in tune with our body, with our movements. So if I take two 26-pound kettlebells, and I'm used to doing two 24-kilogram kettlebells, they're 53 a piece, and doing kettlebell sport, so jerks, if I put the same force that I do with the green kettlebells, 53 pounds a piece, into this right here, and that's all I train my body into doing, look what happens. So I'm going to screw all sorts of stuff up. We have to be in tune with the weight at hand, the task at hand. So this is the reason why I like kettlebell training, is because you can take all sorts of different weights, and it affects so many different variables, so many different planes of motion, balance, coordination, your breathing. Breathing and holding two 53-pound kettlebells is very, very different than holding two 26-pound kettlebells. The same thing as holding a heavy load and walking on flat surface versus walking upstairs with a heavy load. Breathing patterns are changed. Balance stability's changed. Apologize, I'm losing my voice a little bit in the last couple days. But I really like to focus on lightening the load, and we're going to talk about a couple things why. So, the first is getting comfortable and putting my body into the position that it should be. So we're trying to drill that into, well, not drill into your brain, that would not be good, but really focus on those motor unit, that control of what the form actually should be. So I'm telling myself this is a very, very good position to be. Now, as I drop down, I want to make sure where I'm putting my knees. I want to keep a good placement with my feet. So when I start doing this faster, power becomes strength with speed. So if my knee is coming in a lot when I'm doing heavier weights, I don't want to grease that groove. I don't want to, as Pavel would say, I don't want to get used to doing that every time I go to jerk. The heavier you go, the more chances you have of injuring. So I drop down the weight. focus on your skeletal system. Focus on how the muscles move your skeleton. Focus on your breathing. Focus on how it feels with the light weight. Make sure your feet, make sure your base is stable. Focus on turning on certain muscles that you would need on the heavy weights. Get used to doing that repetitively. The more we do this, the better chances we are going to be at the heavier weight when we do it for less reps. We're going to increase the nervous system's ability to control that movement. We are going to work on our balance by doing higher repetitions. We're going to work on our breathing patterns. A lot of people have a very hard time doing the heavier weights because it knocks their breathing off. There isn't much of a difference on how you breathe when you lift really heavier weights versus lighter weights in kettlebell sport. The timing is what dictates how our breathing is. So if I'm doing 20 reps per minute in kettlebell snatch, it's a little different than 14. Or let's say jerks, if I'm doing 10 jerks per minute versus 16. There's the difference. If we start doing long cycle, if we're cleaning and resting in the rack, and we're taking 4 breaths, you have to work on the rise and fall. You have to work on the rise and fall of your chest, breathing. You have to work on keeping your torso engaged, yet still being able to take that full breath. You don't want to be breathing just up through your neck. So there's a whole lot of things to think about. So the video may be a little bit boring, but it's very important that you take the time to really feel your body, how you feel, and how your body changes and how your control changes under varying loads. So maybe it's time that you take a couple days or maybe a day per week or a week per month or whatever and focus on lighter weight. It could even be at the very end of your workout. If you're doing heavy sets, focus on that lighter workout and see if you don't feel better in the next couple weeks by doing your heavier work. This isn't an exercise to wear you out. This is an exercise to focus on your nervous system, to focus on your control and mechanics and breathing. So anyway, just a little tip on lightening the weight.